Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your man, Rico. And these are my thoughts, not yours. Welcome to my Facebook page. Also, check out my YouTube channel, Rico the Opinionist, OPINIONIST. I'm just doing my little hill climbing here that I tend to do periodically. They're softer on the knees, y'all see. I'm going up this right here. So, and then of course the melanin is always popping. But I just want to get on my Facebook page and talk about something that's a good thing. Tuskegee. Is it Tuskegee University? It's not Tuskegee Institute, but Tuskegee University, which happens to be the sister school to, or the brother school to Grambling State University, my beloved alma mater. I said, well, Rico, how is that? Well, you know, you learn the history of Grambling State University and how it was founded and all of that. You learn that Booker T. Washington, who founded Tuskegee, summons our beloved founder, Dr. Charles P. Adams, to go to North Louisiana and create the Negro Normal Agricultural School. And as I've always stated, Booker T. Washington sent the word out, gave the word. Charles B. Adams, he built it. Coach Eddie Robinson paid the bills. And the second president, Ralph Waldo Emerson Jones, carried the torch. All the way up to the third president was Dr. Joseph B. Johnson. And it was the last time Grambling had, in my opinion, had a decent president. Everybody else, no, they were fearless, they cool. They did their thing, but nobody could outdo Dr. Joseph B. Johnson. However, that's the Grambling Tuskegee connection. Tuskegee is like, I guess, our big brother school or big sister school. Because a lot of times people will connect us to Southern. We refer to Southern as our sister school. Southern University is our sister school in the name of SWAC love. So, but Tuskegee just put out the word that they will be instituting a dress code for how students present in class, various class, how they walk up in there. Now, I don't know about campus at large, but definitely for class and how they show up for what we used to have at Grambling called convocations. And we had license, which I don't think they do that stuff anymore, which I think contributed to the breakdown of culture in my beloved Grambling State, or black culture, that is. So, when they show up to convocations, guys have been wearing suits, pants, and the ladies, like at our school back in the day, in the 90s, early 90s, the ladies wore dresses, stockings, just like ladies. They're going to formal events. So what this says is that I think people are catching on to what Hampton University did in partiality. They said to their students who were business majors to come and dress professionally. And then also, but Hampton went even further. They wanted to regulate how they should wear their hair. Be careful with the locks and all of that. But I said, I wonder if Hampton University is going to ever get accused of violating the Crown Act that so many sisters work so hard to get legislated into law, meaning as relates to the anti-natural hair discrimination, when damn near most sisters, when they at work and all that, they wear wigs and weaves and lace fronts. When they out socially, wigs, weaves, and lace fronts. So, what does this mean? It means that people are finally getting tired of this weird ass dressing that a lot of these young people are doing today. In the 90s, you know, you had, I'm doing compare and contrast. The ladies weren't naked. They had little shorts, but the cheeks weren't coming out the shorts. When they were talking about, mainly when they come up with dress code, they always target do-rags and bonnets. And y'all know damn well how do-rags and bonnets have just gotten out of control. They think everywhere is appropriate to wear do-rags and bonnets. Other than in the shower or as they go to bed at night. We got women who wear bonnets or shower caps all in Walmart, Kroger, wherever it is, malls. Then next thing you know, the fatherless young men, they're around here wearing bonnets. And then the people who couldn't care less about our community, well, they found a niche and they started selling millions of decorated and cartoonish and colorful designer bonnets and do-rags that young men are wearing all in the public. Here, where I work at part-time is crowd management. I see a lot of youngsters on the post. I said, how are they working in security or get services with a damn do-rag on their head? But you know what? I don't get on the young people, the young men, or the women. Somebody had to hire them. So what Tuskegee said, we're trying to prepare our students for the real world. Well, hate to tell y'all out there, Tuskegee, the real world is full of youngsters wearing bonnets and do-rags and all kinds of weird stuff in the public. People should have the right to wear what they want to wear. We get all that. But what made HBCUs so unique in the way they were forced to be created, and I say that because they won't allow blacks to go to these PWIs the way some of you knock the doors down to send your children now. It's almost like when they said, when they ended segregation, they told black folks, okay, you can move to the white neighborhoods now. They let their own businesses go. They let everything go to move next door to their white counterparts who, whenever they see them coming, you see the white flight for sale signs start popping up everywhere. But they still try to move where white folks are. It's the weirdest behavior. And so black colleges were created where for the simple fact that they didn't want black folks at these PWIs back in the day, and they still don't really want them there now. But now they found a way to monetarily capitalize on black faces in these white spaces. That's the only reason they want you there. Shit, that's the only reason the Democratic Party deal with black folks, because votes and monetary reasons. They don't give a shit about blacks, but that's a whole nother video. So Tuskegee said, no, we're done with the pants sagging and the bonnets on the head coming to class. When I was at my beloved Grambling State University, and I've always said in all my videos, me, Gen X, up until 96, 97, that was the last great decade of HBCUs. You can debate wherever you want to, but it is. That's when black culture was king. Self-respect was taught in the classroom. Higher standards of expectations were just part of the day. Do you have some who rebelled against it? Of course, nothing's perfect. But yeah, shit. Grambling was awesome in the 90s. I wasn't there in the 80s, but spillover from 88 to spring 89 happened. And I got some of those same professors. They were professors. The professors I had, scholars I had the great fortune of having. They were throwbacks from the late 60s, the 60s, and the 70s. They were still there teaching. Some of them had been teaching 25 years by the time I got there in January of 89. And so they understood the assignment. And they didn't allow let me be specific. Dr. Horton, Dr. Ann S. Williams, she let you know I received my PhD from Columbia University. And every female student, when she could remember your name, she didn't care. Her name was Diane. So everyone who ever had Dr. Ann S. Williams, you know what I'm talking about. I think even Mr. Eddie Milton Jones was my literature professor. I think he had that expectation in his class as well of appropriateness. But for the most part, in general, those black professors didn't play. And they even tell you, what you know, you're not going to sleep in my class. They would slam the book on your desk. Your mama and your father didn't use their money to send you here for you to sleep in class. And they got on your ass for being late too. See, the standards were high and it was different. That's why Gen X will look different from these little millennials. And certainly different from these damn Zs. Y'all ain't raising these Zs. Y'all letting them just raise themselves. These late millennials, like the ones that's 25 and 30, y'all ain't taught them none either. They so weird. Now the later millennials in their 40s, they got some sense. But the late millennials and these Gen Z, phew, y'all just pushed them out and then told them to have at it on their own. So, and it shows. They're just confused sexually, they're confused mentally, they're just weird. But somebody had to give birth to them and somebody had to just push them out and say, hey, do y'all. So, shout out to Tuskegee. Shout out to Hampton for setting the standard, at least in their business building. And I hope this new wave of, they want to call actual black excellence, and not just on BET and the foolishness on that network, but real black academic excellence and presentation excellence. I hope that continues to just move through each HBCU, because Lord knows, y'all remember a couple years ago when the young ladies across the HBCUs start following, what's that little high yellow girl name? Not Sexy Red, but it was before her, that little pale-faced little mixed chick out of New York. But her career is dead now. She try to hang out with Taylor Swift. She came out with that little skirt thing. It's kind of low, it's short in the front, but exposes your booty cheeks. And the ladies wear like little short shorts under it or thongs. And so some of them had their whole ass out under their little skirt. Well, that was being worn so tough at a lot of these homecomings and on these campuses that it ignited a firestorm. Like, what the hell is going on? When I went to Gramblin's homecoming a couple years ago, I saw it. I said, well, goddamn. And then I think what messed it up for me, and I have to admit, pretty women get a little further with me than women who aren't pretty and women who are not fit. Yes, it's wrong on both ends, but if I want to see some wrong being done, I'd rather for her to be attractive. Now you had all the little chubby fat girls with these little skirts on and all the ass that they ate up to get. All the Burger King and Kentucky Fried Chicken and hot wings. They had a little skirt and had all they wrinkled dimple asses out everywhere. I was like, ew, this has to stop. So, I said, I just want to say to big girls, if y'all want to wear clothes that are for fit women, maybe y'all need to become fit women. But I know I'm the minority. So many black dudes who didn't grow up around in the generations where black women, for the most part, or in general, were fit and beautiful. You don't know any better. You guys is under 40, under 45. Y'all don't know any better. Y'all never grew up with actual, natural, beautiful, fit black women. And they all weren't in the gym. They just ate differently. They just had a different spirit. They were feminine. They were just, hell, even the prostitutes made you want to spend your money. Because they were beautiful. A lot of the prostitutes were baddies. I don't recall ever seeing a fat prostitute in the late 70s and 80s when I was a kid. Or a chunky or out of shape prostitute. I don't remember. But when they shit started getting into the strip clubs, they start seeing images of these big women dance on the pole with tattoos everywhere. And that's another thing. I hope it'll get to the point where they start requiring women to really look like beautiful, original women. And stop putting these tattoos all over their goddamn bodies like men in prison. But again, like I said, a lot of these young black men, they didn't grow up like I grew up to see beautiful sisters in their natural state. And were there some outliers who were doing their thing? Of course. But for the most part, and especially in and HBCUs across the country were just full of just god dog baddies. And Grambling State University has some cute, cute, cute women. Beautiful sisters. From 89 to 94 when I was there, gorgeous sisters. Ooh. From all over California, Louisiana, Michigan, Illinois, New York, Mississippi. Just, hell, some folks from Denver. Just bad black chicks from all over. So, because I guess that was the neo-soul and very black culture was in the 90s. But this trap and ratchet era, man, the women are just, ugh. Tattoos on their throats. Piercings all across their goddamn faces like fools. They just ain't pretty no more. They're just not. But again, this is just me as a 57-year-old Gen X. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm just telling y'all what I grew up seeing. Sisters, beautiful. One ashamed of that natural hair. Yes, some wore, probably had a wig or two everywhere. We're not acting like every generation it was more perfect whatever than the other. But this bullshit has been going on since 1999. This is nonsense. Overweight girls wearing little clothes, women with tattoos all in their thighs and their chest and their throat, and the other dudes' names across their chest plate. Insane. It's insane. But then I see these guys. They need these chunky chunk bars. And getting argued with these chunky, littered up body chicks with glue around the edges and funky rap guy attitudes. It's crazy. So I hope that the dress code kicks in not only just when they come to class or when they're going to a particular, like a convocation on campus. Go look at HBCUs. And I see some of them on Facebook and TikTok when they go back and look at the black women of the 90s on HBCU campuses. Let's look at those pretty girls. And they were friendly, real sweet. Nice. And so again, young men today don't know any better. They're under 40. They didn't grow up to see black women in their natural state. I did. I was in the first grade in 1976. So that's how I know firsthand about how prostitutes used to look, because pimping was king in the 70s. All the way up to about 83, 84, when then crack came and killed all of that. Everybody became drug addicts. You either became a drug dealer or a drug addict. And then they brought this new wave of youngsters, and then you got into the 80s and 90s, and there you have it, the crack era in the black community. And destroyed a lot of stuff, a lot of standards, families. But yeah, shout out to Tuskegee and Hampton for the most part. So Grambling State University, let's get it. Let's get everybody back to looking appropriate like human beings, not like somebody who just escaped from Alcatraz. This one who looked like they had the hardest of times. Physically looked like that. Well, let's get our people back in shape. So I hope that standard goes across now, and I hope between each other and their peer groups that they start saying, you know what, man, don't wear that, man. That's so uncool. Or they start telling the women, don't wear that. Just be a lady. If you want to know, you want some reference, just go back and look at old videos from the late 80s and the early 90s. Hey, how are you? And look at how they used to look then. That we could do that for each other. Each one teach one, But anyway, I digress. It's your man Rico. My thoughts, not yours. And my YouTube channel, Rico the Opinionist, OPINIONIST. Peace, y'all.